Hi everyone, Bifties here. Welcome to my Exile. This video is part of my Made Easy series for Path of Exile 2. I'm just trying to share everything that I've learned, and this video is all about Endgame, but specifically starting Endgame, because that's what I've recently done. I've spent most of my hours, about 250 hours, in the campaign, trying many of the different classes that are available. My favourites have been the Witch and the Mercenary, and I've made various videos about them. But now I've decided that I've learned enough, or I'm bored of learning from the campaign, and I've decided to tackle Endgame. And one of the things I've realised straight away is that it really does need to be treated like a completely different game. When you're playing through the campaign, it doesn't matter if you die too much, you're just going to go back a little way. But in Endgame, you get one life to clear a map. Now, many of you will be familiar with it and will have seen the map. And then you're going to put your waystone in, and then you're going to go straight over, and you're going to get the weird thing that confused me, where you've got 6 gates appear. Here they come up, and what I thought was that I could maybe die and go back through the other gates and get another try. But that's not true. If you want to play multiplayer, then I believe you can have up to 6 people. Otherwise, from what I'm reading, it's more of a cosmetic thing, and it's a copy over from Path of Exile 1. So when you're playing through these maps, you get 1 life, and that's it. And that's a big change from the campaign. The other problem that I have with Endgame, and I found this with Diablo 4 as well, is that I do like to have a linear game where I am somewhat led. I come from a D&D background, and that would be called railroading, but any campaign in D&D needs some railroading, and I like to be told what to do next. Whereas in Endgame, you really are just going to pick whichever location you want to do, and you're going to go in and you're going to clear all the monsters. You're going to kill the main monsters. There may even be a boss. But like I said, you need to treat it almost as a completely different game. And the struggle that I've had here is that you kind of have to give up on the build that you've built to play the campaign, and now you're going to have to change the build. When I was going through the campaign, I found it reasonably easy to focus on damage, whatever class it was. If I was focusing on the Witch in the passives, I would go all minion, and then it's just about building your main damage. With the Mercenary, it was to do with physical damage, because everything was based around that. So it really was just the crossbow that mattered. But for Endgame, I'm dying. I've completed my tier 1 maps. That seemed to go quite well. I did that mainly with the Witch, and the Witch is pretty easy, as you can see here. I've got lots of minions, got lots of flaming heads going on, and they're going to clear everything from me. But occasionally I was finding that my PC can't quite handle everything that's on the screen. I get a little bit of slowdown, and that would be where I was dying. So I thought I'd give it a go with the Mercenary, but then I've taken a look on Max Roll, and the Mercenaries that I like, which tends to be ammo rather than grenades, don't seem to fare too well in Endgame. I don't know enough about the game yet in order to come up with a build that will. I could maybe use my grenade mercenary to do that, but I don't know that I want to do that. I don't enjoy it quite so much. I enjoy the grenade build for bosses. I enjoy the crossbow build for clearing, because these maps are generally clearing. I was hoping that I could do that, but I am going to get there, and I'm going to persevere with it. But I wanted to share with you my initial thoughts, because as soon as I've spent much time in Endgame, I'm probably going to forget some of this. So like I said, treat it like a brand new game. Understand that you're not going to be led at all. You're going to really decide on what you want to do, and all you're really doing is looking to clear maps. In order to get through, you've got to clear all of the different tiers. I think it's 10 for each tier. and I think when I did this one I hadn't quite completed my tier 1s, but I've done that now. Tier 2 I'm certainly finding harder, and I think I need to play around with the witch, maybe reduce the amount of minions that I've got on the screen, because sometimes it's a little bit hard to see what's going on, and because you've really got to make sure you don't die. If you die, that's it, you're out of the map, and now you've got to use another waystone in order to go back in, and I believe that you get a certain number of attempts before you actually lock out that location, and then you won't be able to play it anymore. Hopefully that doesn't happen on the lower tiers, but we'll wait and see how I do. Work on your resistances. That seems to be incredibly important, and it looks to me that any gear that has less than 20% resistances, 30% would be better, but you're probably looking at a mid 20% resistant. Maybe you can get multiple resistances, but if it's anything under 20%, then you probably want to keep moving on. Damage is still going to be key, but you really need to be able to take a hit, and you want to get all of your resistances up, because I can tell that this is only going to get harder as I continue. So anyway, that was just my initial thoughts on starting Endgame. I'd really like to hear what all of you think about it. If you've got any tips for me, suggestions, then I'd really appreciate that. If you're like me and you tend not to like an Endgame, maybe you experienced this with Diablo 4 and you just thought, well, where do I go? Diablo 3 was obviously different because back then you actually continued to play through the campaign and you unlocked different difficulties. I always quite liked that because at least I was still being led and I knew where I needed to go. But the way that these games seem to have gone now is that it's all about endgame. It's very different, and I'm just trying to get my head around the fact that my campaign, my leveling, my axe build is effectively dead. It's time to move on from that one. I had great fun with it, but now I actually need to change it quite significantly. It's probably going to involve a respec in the passives. It's certainly going to require significant new gear, but then that gives me a good reason to try and farm through the levels and do my best. I'll probably put some game clips up soon, but let me know your thoughts. Tell me how you got on with it. I'm reading lots of things online about people absolutely killing it and getting through to the much later tiers. I could really do with some suggestions, and if you put it in the comments, then anybody that is benefiting from these beginners guides will then actually be able to use it. So I hope this has been helpful. It's just a little bit of a starter guide. Enjoy Endgame. You're probably going to do much better than I'm doing, but thanks for watching. I'm Bifties. This is The Cave. Welcome to my exile. See you all next time.